Hello students, welcome. This is Dr. Chetna Kumawat. In order to understand capital structure in more depth, we need to understand the theories behind this. In our previous lectures, we have studied the basics of capital structure like meaning and definition, capital structure and capitalization, difference between capital structure and financial structure, factors influencing capital structure, what do we understand by the balanced or optimal capital structure, and so on. Today, we will understand theories of capital structure. In this chapter, we will understand net income theory, net operating income theory, traditional theory, theory, and some other modern theories of capital structure. Capital structure, that is, mix of debt and equity capital in the total capitalization of a firm, is affected by several factors as discussed in the previous lectures. The analysis and management of this capital structure highlights the value of the firm. The value of the firm depends upon the expected earnings and the rate of capitalization. Therefore, the management is interested in selecting that form of capital structure where a given level of debt minimizes the weighted average cost or overall cost of capital and maximizes the earnings available for owners and the total value of the firm. Such a capital structure is known as optimal or balanced capital structure. But there are conflicting views among different experts of financial management about the existence of this optimal capital structure. Some of the experts acknowledge the existence of this optimal capital structure while others do not. This controversy has led to the development of various theories or approaches of capital structure. These theories are as follows: net income theory, net operating income theory, traditional theory, and Modi-Gilani-Miller theory. These theories are the various approaches of a firm's valuation based on earnings, cost of capital, and debt equity mix of the firm. These are discussed in details as follows. First, we will talk about net income theory. This theory was propounded by David Durand and is also known as fixed KE theory. According to this theory, a firm can increase the value of the firm and reduce the overall cost of capital by increasing the proportion of debt in its capital structure to the maximum possible extent. It is due to the fact that debt is generally a cheaper source of funds because, number one, interest rates are lower than dividend rates due to the element of risk, and number two, the benefit of tax as the interest is deductible expense for income tax purpose. When a firm increases the proportion of debt financing, a cheaper source of funds in its capital structure, it results in a decrease in overall cost, which is weighted average cost of capital, leading to an increase in the value of the firm as well as market value of equity shares. The optimal capital structure of such a firm is the point at which the overall cost of capital is minimum and the value of the firm is maximum. Assumptions of this theory. The net income theory is based on the following assumptions. Number one, the cost of debt is cheaper than the cost of equity. Number two, income tax has been ignored. And number three, the cost of debt capital and cost of equity capital remain constant. That is, the use of debt does not change the perception of investors in evaluating the risk. Now let's understand how to compute the value of the firm. Under net income theory, the total value of a firm is computed by adding the market value of debt in the capitalized value of earnings available for equity shareholders. Expressed as a formula, total value of the firm is equals to market value of equity plus market value of debt. In short, S plus D. S stands for shares and D stands for market value of debt. The market value of S, which is shares, is calculated by the following formula. S is equals to E upon KE or EBT upon KE or EBIT minus I upon KE. Here, E stands for earnings available for equity shareholders. EBT stands for earnings before tax. EBIT stands for earnings before interest and tax. KE is equity capitalization rate or cost of equity capital, and EBT is earnings before tax. The overall cost of capital or capitalization rate, in short KO, is calculated by using the following formula. Overall capitalization rate is equals to earnings upon value of the firm, or KO is equals to EBIT upon V. The net income theory explains the effect of the use of debt in the capital structure on the overall cost of capital and stresses on favorable financial leverage. If the financial leverage is favorable, the income before tax will increase by the use of additional debt, and this higher income before tax increases the market value of shares. But the weakness of this theory is that it does not recognize the fact that increase of debt in the total capitalization also increases the financial risk to creditors as well as to shareholders. This will compel the equity shareholders to sell their shares, resulting in the fall of market value of equity shares. On this ground, this theory of capital structure is insignificant for the management. Net operating income theory. This theory has also propounded by David Durant, which is quite opposite to the net income theory. According to this theory, the total market value of the firm is not affected by the change in the capital structure, and the overall cost of capital remains fixed, irrespective of the debt equity mix. It means the overall cost of capital or weighted average cost of capital will remain the same whether the debt equity mix is 50-50 or 30-70 or 0-100. The main thrust of the argument of this approach is that an increase in the use of debt would lead to increase in the financial risk of shareholders, resulting in an increase in the equity by capitalization rate or cost of equity capital. On the other hand, the cost of debt remains fixed because of no increase in the financial risk of lenders. Thus, the benefit of the use of debt, the cheap source of fund, is exactly offset by the increase in the capitalization rate of equity. Thus, no capital structure is optimal, and such the investors become indifferent to the changes in capital structure. It is also known as irrelevant theory of capital structure. This approach is based on the following assumptions. The split of total capitalization between debt and equity is not essential or relevant. The equity shareholders and other investors, that is the market, capitalize the value of the firm as a whole. The business risk at each level of debt equity mix remains constant. Therefore, overall cost of capital also remains constant. And lastly, the corporate income tax does not exist. Under this approach, the total value of the firm is computed by capitalizing the net operating income by weighted average cost of capital or overall cost of capital. It can be expressed as a formula: value of the firm is equals to net operating income divided by overall cost of capital, or we can say EBIT upon KO. Market value of equity capital S is calculated by deducting the market value of debt from the total value of the firm. That is, S is equals to V minus D. The cost of equity capital is calculated by using the following formula: KE is equals to EBIT minus I divided by S or V minus D, where KE stands for equity capitalization rate or cost of equity, EBIT stands for earnings before interest and tax, I stands for interest on debt, and S stands for value of equity. Evaluation. This approach emphasizes upon the rate of net operating income in the determination of total value of the firm. According to this approach, acceptance of new investment proposals should be based on net operating income and the total value of the firm. It should not be based on source of finance and return of capital employed. But this approach does not recognize the perception of optimal capital structure that is contrary to the acknowledged risk of the mix of different sources of finance. The regulation of debt equity mix would have been meaningless had there been no risk and benefits of leverages. So this is it in today's lecture. Thank you so much for your patience and learning.